Hello, Tar Heel Nation. Welcome back to another episode of UNC Hoops Talk. I'm your host, Dan DeWitt. A little bit of an up and down week since the last podcast. I think it's actually been probably a little bit more than a week as far as how it worked out. But we have the horrible-looking loss and play by the Tar Heels against Michigan in the ACC Big Ten Challenge. We'll dive into that one. We have, following that, the blowout win last night against UNCW and CB McGrath's squad. We'll jump into that one a little bit. Got a recruiting update here, and we'll take a look around college basketball to finish out this week's podcast. But just glad that you guys have decided to listen and join in the conversation of UNC basketball and uniting Tar Heel Nation. I hope you'll join me in that movement as we go throughout this season, and make sure you're subscribed. Make sure you share it with other Tar Heel fans. But just thanks for listening, guys. I love the support, love feedback. Any way to contact me will be down in the description of wherever you're listening or watching this. So let's dive in. I think I'm actually going to start with the recruiting news. It'll probably be old by the time this actually gets out and published. But Vernon Carey is making his decision today, which is Thursday, December 6th, I believe it is. Right, December 6th, yeah. So he's making it, I think it's noon Eastern, so it's about an hour from when I'm actually recording this. Similar to when I podcasted the day of Josh Green's announcement, I just don't think that we're going to get him. I think he goes to Duke. It's down to Duke, Michigan State, and us. I just really don't see. I would actually put us probably in third behind both those schools. Obviously, I'd love to have him. I'd cheer for the kid. I'd welcome the kid. Roy's not going to go after somebody he doesn't want. So definitely a big-time basketball talent, big guy that can shoot from the outside. I think he's even like 6'10" or something like that, but he's got a pretty good-looking three-point shot. And, he could definitely help us. We know we need help in the post, but I really think he'll go to Duke here. It's being announced on ESPN. That is the Duke National Broadcast Network, right? So that's kind of my gut feeling. Obviously, there'll be an update here, probably even before you're listening to this, so you can look into that. Other recruiting news, we had Isaiah Todd last night at the UNCW game. He was in attendance, and also Cole Anthony. They both came on unofficials. I don't think it was planned. I don't know when it was decided or when the coaches kind of knew, but they were, nobody really said anything leading up to the game, and they were kind of both there. Todd is playing in Raleigh now. I don't know what high school it is, but he plays there, so it's not a big drive over there. Cole Anthony up in Virginia in Oak Hill Academy. I don't know how far of a drive that is, but he made it. Somebody said that Corey Alexander, who announced the game last night, played at Virginia, played in the NBA a little bit, is coaching at Oak Hill. I didn't know that. I still haven't really checked in on that, and so they thought, he probably hitched a ride with him or something. I haven't fact checked that, but could possibly be why he's there. But it's his third visit to North Carolina. Only school he's visited 3 times. Read into it what you want. Again, he's not going to decide for a long time here, so I don't think there's a ton you could read into it. Besides, obviously, he likes watching college basketball. This is, I think, the first game he's seen. He came during football season or something for his official visit, saw a football game, and then he came when the Hornets had their preseason game in the Dean Smith Center. He was on campus and watching that. But this is the first Carolina game he's seen. Stinks that Kobe White was out. He didn't get to see him play and kind of see kind of the role he could probably take over. Is the way Kobe's been playing this year. Chances are becoming more and more slim that he's not going to be back next year. Again, hopefully he is. Would love that and stuff, but kind of the role that he could step into, the freedom that Roy gives his point guards, but yet also kind of what he demands of them and what it takes. So stinks that he didn't get to see that. It was obviously a blowout game. Maybe he'll come back for the Gonzaga game. Maybe he'll keep making that trip. I don't know. Again, I don't even know if we can read that much into it. Besides, he obviously enjoys it. He enjoys watching college basketball. Whatever. But we'll see. It definitely doesn't hurt having him on campus as much as we can get. And then also for the Gonzaga game coming up, Matthew Hurt out of Minnesota, power forward, is having his official visit. You can go back to listening to the recruiting podcast in the preseason, but again, our chances aren't great for him, I don't think. I think Kansas is probably the leader for him, is what Blake told us on that and everything that I've been hearing and stuff. So, but again, doesn't hurt to have him. Doesn't hurt to, we want to go after that top talent, and hopefully, somebody's got to see our big guys aren't producing and they could come in, step in and take, some minutes and get some playing time and all that. And how Roy has developed big guys in the past, you'd think they'd jump at that, some of these guys. But we got Armando Bacot coming in next year, so obviously some help on its way, a little bit at least. So we'll see what happens there. That's the recruiting update. Jumping into the games, I'm actually going to go in kind of the reverse order. Usually, obviously, I go in the order the games are played. I figure we'll probably spend more time talking about the Michigan game. So just a quick look at the UNCW game. Came out a little bit sluggish and very sloppy. We had like 9 turnovers in the first half. It was just kind of, the whole game really was just kind of a blah game. It was just kind of like, oh, whatever. And the guys kind of played it. Obviously, Kobe White, as mentioned, did not play in this game. Just precautionary, shouldn't be anything lingering, but ankle issue, and they obviously knew they didn't need him, so left him out. And then actually, Brandon Robinson didn't play as well. He did dress out. They thought he would maybe play, but again, more of a precautionary thing, just holding him out because we didn't need him. Really, well, I'm not going to say anything mean about this, about UNCW. So, obviously we knew that we were going to win, or we should win. We were favored by 28, which is, I don't know, it's crazy. We met it. We actually did win exactly by 28, 97 to 69, but only led by 9 at halftime. And actually about 8 minutes into the second half, I actually tweeted, said, oh, it looks like, because I had a poll about, will we meet or outdo will we cover or not, pretty much. And it didn't look like we were. We were just kind of playing sluggish. We were just kind of, whatever. And that was with about 12, 13 minutes left in the game. And then all of a sudden we went on a 30-3 run and just blew them out. Ended up winning by exactly 28. So, it is what it is. Kind of crazy. But actually in the first half, there was about 10 to 8 minutes left in the first half, halfway through the first half. They actually went on like an 11-1 run and took the lead. It was like 24, 23, 22, something like that. Cam came down and hit a 3 to get the lead back for us, and then we never gave it up again. But kind of crazy that they were even that close, and then the way it ended, it just turned really fast. But stat-wise, we out-rebounded them 49-36, 18 offensive rebounds for us, 15 turnovers, which said 9 of those were in the first half. We actually have 4 guys with 3 turnovers. We did have 23 assists, like 13 steals. But again, it was such a blah game. I don't know. The energy wasn't there. Or obviously, we knew the opponent wasn't up to our standards. And what we had been seeing with, Michigan and UCLA and Texas, and they just aren't on that level. But I don't know. It was just kind of strange. I don't know, just a middle of the week game, I guess. But at least we didn't fall into it and keep it close all the time. We did pull away and win. As far as individual stats, Cam Johnson led us with 21 points, 7 for 14 shooting, 3 for 8 from 3. And then we had Nasir Little with 14 off the bench, shot 5 for 9. And then we had Luke May with 11 and Kenny Williams with 11. Luke was 5 for 11 shooting, Kenny 4 for 11. Kenny was 1 for 6 from 3. Let's see here. And then we had Garrison with 7 points and 7th with 7 points. Then off the bench, Sterling Manley, 8 points, and Brandon Huffman actually was 7. But there was a lot of garbage time in this one. And so again, stats don't say a whole lot in this game. Rebounding wise, Sterling led us with 10 actually. So again, and he didn't. I don't know. I won't say he didn't play meaningful minutes. He played 18 minutes, but so much of it was just kind of when the game was out of hand and didn't matter anymore. Again, we had a lot of guys in double-figure minutes. We actually only had our leading minute guy was Cam with 28, Kenny with 27, 7th 24, Luke 22, Nasir 21, Garrison 21. So nobody playing big minutes, and it's something to kind of watch. Obviously, we have a bunch of guys that played, and we know how Roy Williams plays his rotations at this time of the year. It's going to be time to kind of shorten that bench. But and I just really noticed this looking at the Michigan box score of, they kind of blew us out almost, but yet they still only played 8 guys the whole game. But yeah, we'll get into that one a little bit. Again, I don't know if there's much more to go over rebounding or stat wise here in this UNCW game. Kenny did have 8 more assists. He's really been getting the assists, dishing it out. He was one of the guys with 3 turnovers, but still pretty good margin there, 8-3. And yeah, not much else to say about this game. We blew them out, and it's what it was supposed to be. Somehow Vegas knows how to get exactly those lines, so that's interesting. But yeah, then jumping back to the Michigan game, this was in the ACC Big Ten Challenge. It was on the Wednesday of it, and again, nobody actually follows us. I just randomly heard this. I didn't even go look for it, but apparently we tied with them 7-7. You would think by this point they would just add another game. I believe there's teams from both conferences that don't play, or I don't know, just at least take a game off, make it an odd number so you always have a winner. But whatever, it was a tie 7-7. Again, I guess nobody really cares about it, so why change it? But just, yeah, not a good game for the Tar Heels. Came out and only down 4 at half. The first half wasn't bad. It was tight. It was close. We weren't playing necessarily good. We didn't shoot the ball really well. We were 48% in the first half, but 25% from 3. And then we were 32% in the second half. 3-pointers went up a little bit, up to 39%. But yeah, they held us under 40% shooting for the game, 33% from 3. And then on top of that, we shot 62% from the free throw line. But yeah, that wasn't going to really change much this game. Again, 84-67 win for the Wolverines. We out-rebounded them 43-31. They only had 2 offensive rebounds. We only had 10 turnovers. But yeah, it's really the shooting, and obviously give them credit for the defense, but also they knocked down shots. They shot 56% in the first half, 59%, almost 60% in the second half. And then they were 50% from 3 in both halves. 11 threes for them. We made 7 threes. Yeah, is just a really ugly game. Defensively, we struggled again. I told you guys in the last podcast, like, we're going to have to watch our team and how we play. Ball screens, they put us in a lot of ball screens. We didn't handle it well. At first, I think we were fighting through the screen, going over top to take away the 3-point shot. And, they were getting to the rim and they were rolling because our guy had to help while the guy was going over it. Then we started switching and they swung the ball and we were getting open threes. And yeah, again, it was really ugly. It just didn't look like the guys were into it, wanted it bad enough. I don't know, whatever it is. Obviously, Roy went off in the post-game press conference. If you haven't heard that already, he told everybody how much we stunk, how much he stunk. Just didn't like anything about his team, all that stuff. But yeah, nobody really had a good outing. Kobe White led us with 12 points. Think about that. Our leading scorer had 12 points. Just doesn't happen very often for a North Carolina team. And then Kenny and Luke had 11. Garrison had 10, and that's it for double figures. Cam Johnson only 5, 2 for 7 shooting. But even the guys that hit double figures, Kobe 6 for 12, which isn't a horrible shooting percentage, but for what he was coming off of, doesn't match that. And yeah, to just, again, only 12 points for your leading scorer. Luke May was 4 for 12 shooting. Kenny Williams 4 for 7, which again isn't bad, but a lot of those were late too when the game had been decided. Garrison Brooks 4 for 7. Luke did have 15 rebounds, mostly defensive. I guess they missed a bunch of shots, but they did push a little bit, so higher possession game affects that a little bit. We did cut it to 11. Again, I don't remember what was halfway through the second half or so, but then they came down, knocked a 3, and it was like all life just kind of escaped us. Again, the crazy part is we only had 10 turnovers. Cam Johnson had 2, and out of that, nobody else had more than 1. So that wasn't our problem, but we just never got going offensively. Nasir Little struggled. He was 1 for 5 shooting, 4 points. Think about that. Top 5 prospect in the class, top 5 freshman with his athleticism, just 4 points. So It goes both ways. We did not play well. We did not get going offensively. We didn't stop them defensively. It was just bad. But then also you have to give Michigan credit. They have the top ranked defense in the country for a reason. And then offensively, like I said, they were shooting pretty well, and they were just going. They were just picking us apart, getting to the rim, ball screens, knocking down threes, all of it. And it was actually I don't even know where he's from, but their foreign guy, Ignas Brazdeikis, 24 points, true freshman, led them. And this is what I'm talking about, their box score here. So their starters went 32, 34, 34, 32, 34 minutes. And that's, again, pretty much what was a blowout. I never really felt like we were going to, if we could have got a stop when we were down 11 and maybe got another bucket in there, maybe. But they so quickly came back and hit a three and just took the air out of us that never really felt like we had a chance. So in that sense, I call it a blowout. We didn't lose by 20. It was 17 or whatever, but it didn't feel like we had a chance. And really, I say they played 8 guys, but one of their guys off the bench played 4 minutes with absolutely zero stats besides those 4 minutes. So really, they're playing 7 guys. They had the starters there, what I listed in their minutes, and then 18 and 12 off the bench. So they're playing such a shorter bench, and they're, I don't know, maybe guys knows their role better. Again, I'm not going to harp on it because this is what Roy does, every November, December, and once we get into these bigger games and into ACC play, our bench will be shortened as well. But also those guys on the bench hopefully get. I don't know about this year. Usually we see guys getting confidence and guys making plays to, they know they can do it. So when if they do have to come into a big game, they have that confidence. Whereas, Michigan gets into foul trouble or injuries happen, they're going to have to take unproven guys off the bench and give them minutes. But I don't know. We'll see, obviously, as it gets going. Nasir's got to step up yet. Still a lot of talk about him having to start. Garrison Brooks is not producing what we need him to. Sterling Manley has struggled all year. It just kind of feels like it's time to get Nasir in there. We'll see what that does to rebounding. Not that I think it's our last 2 losses. We out rebounded the team and we still ended up losing. So it's not like that's the big thing. Obviously, we get into a opponent that has the bigs, like a Texas A&M last year that we ended up losing in the tournament to. We're going to have to depend on some of those big guys. So again, we're just talking about giving guys confidence, knowing that they've been in that situation and that they can produce. I don't know that they're getting it this year. That's the difference. Is guys are coming in and I don't know if they're producing. Playtech's been getting some minutes. B-Rob's been pretty productive when he's come in, but like Garrison, Sterling, I don't know that they're gaining confidence because they're not doing that well. They're not producing when they're in there. So I don't know if they're going to come in with confidence, and what does it do for Garrison's confidence, or just due to him mentally if he does get benched. For Nasir Little, who hasn't been playing exceptionally well either, we kind of expect him to grow into it, and he's had his flashes and stuff, but he hasn't been playing exceptionally well off the bench either. So I don't know. It'll be interesting. Again, something to watch along with our defense. I mentioned, and it's been stated too, that we only have 4 games in the month of December, and people are like, oh, we get so much more practice now. But Roy actually in the press conference last night after the UNCW game kind of went through the schedule, and for the next week with finals and stuff, there's not a lot of practice to be had there either. He said, they're off today. They do a run and shoot on Friday, and then the game is on. No, the game's not until next Saturday, and then I guess they practice. So I think they're off Saturday for some reason. I don't know why. Maybe for how much, obviously you're limited in how many practice hours you can have in a week. But then they go Sunday, and he said Sunday's going to be a really hard game. And then like Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, they can't practice because of finals. And then by then you're starting to not go too hard because you're getting ready for the Gonzaga game Saturday. So Thursday, I don't know again what they'll be doing. They'll probably practice Thursday and then something like Friday before the game Saturday. So not a lot of practice here before the Gonzaga game. But then after that, not hopefully, there will be a lot of practice time there. There's another week. So again, after Gonzaga game, you take off Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday of that week. Hopefully you can go pretty hard. before you start resting legs and getting ready for the Kentucky game on the following Saturday. So not as much practice as you kind of look at like how much time we have off between games. But yeah, hopefully it's coming at least before ACC play. But yeah, transitioning now into the Gonzaga game, we do have a week and a half before that game's come. We just played last night, Wednesday. We don't play till the 15th, the following Saturday. But again, there's exams in there and stuff. So yeah, hopefully we can fix some things. Gonzaga game, I don't know. I predicted that we would lose to Michigan. I didn't think, and I definitely didn't wish that it would look that bad. But the Gonzaga game is going to be a tough one. And just real quickly, this game is played obviously on the 15th. It's a 7 p.m. Eastern tip on ESPN2. It's going to be a big time game. Right now, Gonzaga is number 1 in the country. We are 14. We'll probably, let's see. Well, I guess we've dropped since the Michigan game. The rankings have come out, so we shouldn't drop. Maybe jump. We'll be somewhere in their 12 to 14 range rankings. Gonzaga does play Tennessee this Sunday, 7th ranked Tennessee. They're a good team, but I think Gonzaga kind of matches up with them pretty well with their athletic bigs. Tennessee is stronger inside than they are outside. Gonzaga is just, obviously we'll talk about them, but they're just almost the perfect team. They have, definitely the athletes, the length, strength inside. They run, but yet they got shooters on the outside. They got experience. It's kind of that the teams that we've known North Carolina win championships with the experienced talent and just athletic and just, guys at every position, like real basketball players. Not many weaknesses there, and they're not even at full strength. That's the scary part is this Gonzaga team could definitely go into the NCAA tournament undefeated. They're going to have to be, they're number 1 in the country, so anything's an upset. But if they get past Tennessee and get past us in Chapel Hill, they're going to have to be a pretty big upset for them to lose before March, before the NCAA tournament. So kind of crazy the way, obviously, Gonzaga has been a steady upbeat, but to think Gonzaga is the best team in the country, and obviously people still say, Duke has the most talent, and Kansas obviously is undefeated as well. But I've watched the Gonzaga Duke game, and I watched them last night where they barely beat Washington at home. Which you say, well, if you can lose to Washington at home, then you're not that good. But they just, again, they're missing 2 key guys right now, and they just look like a complete team. So it's going to definitely be hard as far as matching up with us. Again, I think it's kind of a bad matchup for us. They have bigs where we struggle, and we've seen how Luke May does against athletic bigs. Unless something changes there, he has not done well. If he's trying to guard Rui Hachimura, I would pick them. Like, I know Luke was a preseason All-American, but I don't think he matches up well with him. Rui is bigger, stronger, quicker, more athletic, all that stuff. So that's going to be a tough matchup. Then they have the Clark inside, who has the length and athleticism. He's kind of a big, kind of like ours. You don't call plays for him, but he's been a lot more productive than our bigs have. And then they have Norvell, who's a shooter on the outside. Josh Perkins has been hitting shots on the outside and just kind of knows how to run the team. He's done a good job of just running their basketball team. And I don't even know who the other guys are. I don't know who their 5th starter is off the top of my head. I've just kind of forgotten who it is. But again, they just are kind of complete. We are really going to have to knock down shots. We're going to have to knock down threes, knock down shots, which we haven't done really well this year. And we have to get them in transition. They don't, like I said, a couple of key guys out with injuries. And I don't think either of them will be back for our game. So we're going to have to get into their bench, get guys into foul trouble, get guys into being really tired in that second half. But really, they played a complete game against Duke. You saw at the end, if you watch the Duke game, they did collapse a little bit. Duke came back and had several chances to win the game. But they still withstood, Duke's athleticism. And again, if we have to get them running more, so if they're that tired at the end, and hopefully it's close enough, or we even have the lead, then we can kind of pull away or at least win the game. Again, knocking down shots has not been a strength for us. We have not gotten into transition like a normal North Carolina team. We have not gotten guys into foul trouble like we have in past years. So again, we have to play our A game. We're gonna have to play our best game of the year, definitely this far, if not what we play all year almost, to beat Gonzaga. Obviously, being at home helps us. Hopefully, the crowd should be crazy. Although I do think it's over break because finals are done for the North Carolina students. I think a lot of them will stay for this game, and then obviously a lot of people. It's a big time matchup, so we're gonna fill the Smith Center and hopefully we're rowdy and loud and cheering on the Tar Heels, hopefully to a victory as well. But this is definitely one I would think I would pick that we're not going to be favored. Again, it's the number one team in the country. Even though it's at home, I don't think we're going to be favored. I don't know. Maybe it'll be close to a pick'em game, but I kind of foresee another loss coming for the Tar Heels. Unfortunately, don't get me wrong. I'm going to be cheering for a win and all that stuff. But you can kind of let me know what you think. Of course, the day of the game or whatever, I'll be sending out the tweet to give me your score prediction. We'll poll on whether we'll cover all that stuff. If you've been following me on Twitter, you kind of know what I've been talking about. Polls of player of the game or leading scorers, that kind of stuff. Try to do all that mostly on game day. So I'm going to try to do that every game. Obviously, it's been a lot of fun and we've gotten a lot of good. It's crazy how close you guys can get with your score guesses. I'm terrible at guessing scores, but definitely good. And a little shout out it's on Twitter. He is at DES, Deanie Smith, but at DES is the coach on Twitter. Give him a follow. He's won the score prediction game or whatever you want to say 3 times now out of our 8 games or so. What is our record right now? We got 2 losses. Where is it? Hold on a second. I know this is riveting, but here we're 7-2. So 9 games. He's won a third of them. And I don't know if he's guessed on all of them or not, but pretty crazy there. So yeah, definitely join that in. Follow me on Twitter if you're not, and be looking on game day to submit your score so that I got it there right where I need it and can look after the game, see who's the closest. But last night example, he won at DES is the coach. And he was like 2 points off. He had ours off by 1 and theirs off by 1. So just crazy to me how you guys do that. But join the fun there. Like I said, we'll cheer the Tar Heels on to hopefully a victory over the number 1 team, Gonzaga, as long as they beat Tennessee. That's the thing. If they lose to Tennessee, the rankings come out on Monday and they won't be number 1 anymore. So I kind of hope they beat Tennessee so we can play the number 1 team in the country. Makes losing. You can say, "Oh, is the number 1 team in the country?" We should lose, but also if you win, that's obviously more bragging rights there. So I'd like to see them come in as number 1 in the country. But yeah, we'll be cheering that on. Again, that game is 7 p.m. Eastern tip on ESPN2 next Saturday, the 15th, and then we will podcast again because we got a whole another week until the Kentucky game. So we'll podcast looking back at that game, looking ahead to Kentucky. But yeah, this really podcasting here, I got all of next week off of podcasting, which I don't know, kind of crazy. I'm not used to that during the season. Usually it's like around the holidays, I'll take a week off, but I got a week off here where I don't have to podcast. And so definitely hit me up because I'll be missing you guys. I'll be missing the podcast and the conversation about Tar Heel basketball. But really quickly before we close out here, I don't want to go too long, but quick look around college basketball. There wasn't a bunch of big games. The Big Ten did start their conference slate. There's a couple of interesting games there, but yeah, really the big story is Michigan so far. To me, it's Michigan, Gonzaga, obviously Duke, but I try to stay away from talking about them as much as I can. But Michigan has just looked exceptional. Gonzaga, like I said, I raved about them. They look like a complete team. I stayed up and watched that game last night because Washington had it so close, but they pull through, and they're only going to get better once they get into conference play because they're going to get their guys back. So yeah, it's like I said, we're in the thick of college basketball, getting close to conference. Obviously, Big Ten already starting their conference slate. Exciting time, and yeah, our Tar Heels got some work to do, but hopefully they get the practice in here over the rest of December after finals anyway, and Even if we drop to Gonzaga, hopefully we can take down Kentucky and Chicago. And then we got 2 more games. Let's see, Harvard and Davidson before the conference play starts. So we got some work to do, but there's room for growth. It's not like we're playing our best basketball and say like, well, we're just not very good, and we're playing our best basketball. So we got room to go. We can shoot better. We can defend better, and we know that Roy's going to make these guys better. We got to keep an eye, obviously, on how we play defense, and especially ball screens. People are going to start exploiting us if we don't fix that. And then also keep an eye on Nasir and when he starts. It's kind of everybody I've listened to is like he's going to start. It's just a matter of when. We got to. I don't know if Gonzaga is the game to do it or not. Maybe we lose to Gonzaga and then he starts against Kentucky, and that's kind of gets us rolling. I don't know. We'll see. But again, that's something to keep an eye on. And again, before I leave here, I always throw it out on YouTube because I do live stream this, and you can watch this live, even though they're not scheduled. You kind of have to just catch it. But I always throw out for questions and comments. And so we got Grant Bowden back. How's it going, Grant? And he says, hey, Dan, just hoping Kenny Williams finds his shot. We need it, and his senior leadership. Yeah, I said it last podcast. We kind of need just kind of a bulldog to get after guys. Apparently, Kenny has been the vocal one, but I don't know if he has the right personality, as I said before. But he definitely needs to find his shot. He just hasn't been shooting that much. I mean, 7 shots has been kind of the most he's had in a game, and I don't know if that's the way to find your rhythm. He kind of usually hits a few, but it's after the games are decided. It's late in the second half, either when we're winning by a lot or we're down too much is kind of when he gets his shot. So I don't know. We need to fix that a little bit. He has been distributing the ball well. And then Tar Heel Nation says we have to beat Gonzaga. If not, we don't have a shot at the championship this year. Start Nasir. Yeah, obviously I agree with the start Nasir part. I don't think that means we can't win the championship. Again, they seem like they're clicking on all cylinders minus their injured players. Maybe chemistry stuff comes into it, but I think we have a lot of growth. We don't always grow like we should, but we do have a lot of growth that we can. That's there. Our ceiling is still pretty high. It's just whether we reach it or not. And then Tar Heel Nation also says, I say start Nasir so he can get into a rhythm the way Kobe is. That's why he's playing so good. We're going to need athletes on the floor to beat Duke. Yeah, and I said it in a podcast previous too. Like Nasir, and maybe Nasir does match up with like Rui Hachimura against Gonzaga better. So maybe he does need to play more, start, or whatever against Gonzaga. I don't know, but yeah, we're definitely going to need him. And I went into it how he matches up with Zion Williamson, that kind of stuff. So Tar Heel Nation also says Texas showed how to beat us. Every good team will use that against us. We're only beating bums. It's true. We have to defend better, and people are going to exploit us. Again, when we play a lesser talented team, our talent just takes over and we win, or whatever. But especially like last night, we were killing them in the paint, and like we're not good in the post. So it's just our size and athleticism over the lesser teams. Crazy thing is Texas, as far as looking around the college basketball, where Texas beat us, they lost to Michigan State pretty badly. They're actually ahead of Michigan State, and the Michigan State went on a run and beat them pretty easily. And then since us, they lost to Michigan State, and then they lost to 2. I forget the one in between there, Radford, or there was somebody in there who was an assistant to Shaka Smart who beat them. And then last night, VCU, Shaka's old team, came into Austin, Texas, and beat Texas on their floor. So, yeah, I don't know that they're a great team. We just didn't have it last night. And obviously, Roach went off against us for 32. And I said it in that game, he's never going to have a game like that as well. So, yeah, we definitely have work to do. We have established that. And Tony Perry, hopefully I said that right, says, Roy said, we're due for a good shooting game. We definitely are, but you can't just depend on that. You can't just say, oh, we're due for a good shooting game. You have to, and I think the guys are putting in, the work. It's not like they're not getting shots up and not working at it, but you have to also get open, look for the right guys in the right positions, and play to your team's strength. And that's what's going to help you shoot better as well, get the right shots for the right people. But we are definitely due for a good shooting game. Coach Mike Brown Jr. says, go Heels, baby. Happy holidays to the Tar Heel Nation. Absolutely. Happy holidays to you as well, Mike Brown, Coach. And yeah, to everybody, we're going to podcast here again before Christmas. So that's why I didn't say anything about it, but definitely wish Tar Heel Nation happy holidays and that everybody's safe and traveling and gets to spend time with friends and family and watch some basketball as well. But and the Tar Heel Nation finished off as worst big men we ever had at UNC. Up for debate. I'll wait. I mean, collectively, our guys, they're not the worst. Well, even individually, we've had worse guys. I don't know that we've had to start worse guys. Garrison Brooks and Sterling Manley, like Coach Williams, like Roy has said, like Garrison has been dependable. That's usually what you say about your backup. Even Seventh Woods, he stepped in last night. He had a solid game when Kobe was out. He had 7 points, three assists, something like that. And just dependable. It was a decent game, but you wouldn't say it was a good game. Wouldn't say it was a great game. And that's not what you want your starter to have. Kobe comes in, he went for 33, he went for 19 against UCLA. Even though he led us against Michigan with 12, shot 6 for 12. Not a great game, but again, the scoring's there, the talent's there. He's going to push. Obviously, he's got to find guys better, put guys in the right spot, and kind of run our team. But the talent's there. As far as our big guys, we've always had somebody kind of that we could start. Even when Kennedy was younger and he was going through his problems, we had Bryce that was playing alongside of him to give us stuff inside. When Bryce was younger, we had guys that came before him that could, were dependable. Well, not even dependable, better than dependable, that were producing. We've always had a big guy or big guys that produced. And that's kind of the problem with these guys is they're just not producing. They're dependable. They're not bums or anything like that. But yeah, maybe the worst big guys we've had to kind of start. I don't know. We have to look back. What was it? I mean, well, obviously last year we went small. Luke, and Theo, who was, it was obviously the same guys. As Garrison and Sterling backing them up. But yeah, I don't know. Again, going back far enough, I don't know if I'm thinking far enough back or individual teams either, whether these are the worst or not. And don't want to harp on our guys too much. It's not like Garrison and Sterling don't want to produce or, aren't working at it and stuff like that. So I don't want to be too harsh on them either that way. So, but yeah, we've gone long enough here. We've hopefully covered everything. Got you guys ready for the next week without a podcast here, but definitely connect with me on social media, Twitter, Instagram, whatever it is, hit me up, email. It's all down in the description there, either at alltarheeldan or unchoopstalk@gmail.com. But love to continue this conversation on one of those platforms and with you guys. I will talk college basketball, definitely North Carolina basketball, anytime, any place with anyone. So hope you'll take me up on that. But really, that's all I got for you guys this week. Until next week, go Heels.